some updates. Here's my setup as a whole. I've got it on a moving dolly, concrete block for fire safety, fuel tank here, fuel pump, exhaust goes to here. I've got a fan blowing over it. We'll go through all of this in a little more detail. I at first did not want to use the outlet ducting. First we'll talk about the exhaust. I guess I've got the exhaust wrap there. The muffler, it has a little drain hole for water. Camera is all over the place. In here is a PC fan used to induce draft before the chimney heats up. That way it can help suck out the early exhaust, which you'll see is pretty smoky. Pretty sure that'll burn out eventually, but we'll see. Got another fan over here blowing over the chimney to help capture some of the exhaust heat. Some wiring going on over here. Sorry for the terrible camera. You're not meant to see this yet. I powered it on and it was a fail. So I tried to record again. I point out that there are 3 hose clamps included, but if you use the ducts, then you need at least 4 or 6 if you clamp the vents. So, you know, I guess that is what it is. I originally didn't want to use it because the hot air is blowing straight out onto plastic, but it's got some nice adjustability on both vents. I can point it any direction in the garage. The fuel tank is not actually mounted to anything. It's just kind of held in place by the intake air duct. I chose to insulate the intake. Here we've got the fuel filter. I think it's also sort of a water filter. I'm not quite sure. Usually a fuel filter looks a little bit different. It's kind of more inline, doesn't have the a way to drain off at the bottom. I chose to use the green flexible tubing because you can slip it on without having to use any clamps. It's not really particularly easy to take it on and take it off, but I don't need to use the clamps, and it was what I had at first. I put the exhaust wrap on the intake because it's got this paper coating, and I'd actually rather the exhaust sort of radiate some of its heat as much as it can. I do have 2 different units, and one came with a very high quality exhaust tubing with very high quality ends. The other one was this more corrugated weird stuff. It actually turned out in my favor because I was able to cut slits in it and use it to make couplings and extend and modify my exhaust. I've got the fuel pump over here mounted at approximately a 45-degree angle. It can be rotated. The muffler here, it's got some leaks. They didn't really weld it shut or anything. So I actually went back and put some tailpipe and muffler sealer on that, and we'll see how that goes. The exhaust routes up here into the chimney, and I restarted again because I turned on the unit, and the surprise feature failed once again. So just kind of running back through everything real quick here. Like I said, I recorded this 3 different times. Each one I covered some different things, so I'm just kind of rolling through them here with the commentary. Got the air intake. This intake filter, it literally does nothing. The so-called filter, the air doesn't pass through it, so it's an intake muffler if you ask me. But you know, at least it'll keep some random dust that's happening to be floating around maybe from getting in there. I mounted the fuel pump, the fuel filter to the pre-existing mounting holes. There's another hole over here that I'm not using. I was going to put in some dowels to help hold this upright, but the intake muffler holds it just fine. It's on this moving dolly here. I can finally tune the position, but really it's pretty much just gonna live there. Showing the coupler, the different types of exhaust. The muffler, you'll see here in a minute, it leaks, and when the unit is starting up, it's a very thick white, very noxious. It's basically just boiling the diesel. You could probably light that smoke on fire. So I want to get that out of there. So I've got a draft inducer fan in here that for now it's just running all the time because otherwise I think it'll overheat, as well as a heat recovery fan on the side that blows air over. Some wiring over here again. Ideally, I'm going to be sucking up warm air. See, yeah, there's the hidden surprise. This was supposed to be a white light just to have better lighting in the area, but I couldn't tell which LED strip it was, and it was just some scrap I had laying around. I was like, oh, hey, this would be a cool idea. It's just something I added in there. Going through a full startup here, I run outside to check to make sure that the exhaust is venting, but I didn't get video of that. We will see here in the next clip. Yeah, here is the noxious smoke. I put tailpipe sealer on the joints. One joint I left flexible so that I can finally tune the position, and we'll see how that goes. Here's the full startup sequence. It smoked a little bit. I don't know how much of the audio. Yeah, that's it. Warms up. I show the chimney here. I check to make sure that it's not getting too warm. It's running 12.4 volts between 2 and 3 amps, so 36 watts. Showing the wiring. Here's where I check to make sure that it's not too hot. It's warm. It's not warm, but it's not cold. Definitely would like to capture more heat and not take away from the energy in the room. This is back to the original clip. If we go back there to the very beginning, I've got quite a few bends in the exhaust. I don't know if you want quite so many. I just wanted to try and get it away from anything else, kind of keep it in the open air. This is just a frame that I've got mounted to the wall. But yeah, that's about it for now, and we'll see what comes next.